What is it about video games that we're so attracted to? Have we ever asked ourselves what we're yearning for when we hear? And yes, Xbox is better than PlayStation, but we can have that debate another time. Cam Adair of Game Quitters studied around 150,000 players and discovered that roughly 70% of those gamers use gaming to escape personal difficulties or negative emotions such as anxiety and depression. So, why is it that video games are the escape of choice for many young people today? One, gaming as escapism. Escapism is defined as the tendency to seek distraction and relief from unpleasant realities, especially by seeking entertainment or engaging in fantasy. There's the word, fantasy, that we're seeking to explore. Fantasies are interesting because they only exist in the mind, technically speaking. They serve as an extension of reality where we immerse ourselves in situations and environments that are more compelling than their realistic counterparts. They fill in the gaps of our adoration, simulating experiences that we think, whether we know it or not, will serve us our needs on a silver plated platter. It is as if we're living a split fiction or an obscure existence. Do you ever feel like you're treated completely differently when you walk out into the world as opposed to when you're sitting in front of your screen playing games? Jean Baudrillard's Simulacre and Simulation, which actually inspired the Matrix movie series on a simulation, by the way, claims that we succumb to the symbols that seek to represent reality, or as he calls it, the desert of the real. And in return, our symbols have become more real than the desert itself. We fantasize and therein live out the experiences that align closer with the respect that we believe we deserve. Think about it. During games, you tackle challenges, get better, get rewarded, are the main character of your story, laugh with friends. These are all experiences that align with what's studied as self-determination theory. Simply put, this is when you find yourself in engaging experiences that check off the boxes of autonomy, competence, and belonging, encouraging you to spend time, get in flow, and rather become obsessed with the task at hand. And all of this happens under the radar. It's one of the major reasons why one might find it so difficult to study at school, but finds themselves completing every build, storyline, side quest, and Easter egg to 100%. Imagine that same effort, because it is effort and dedication, was facilitated to every other meaningful facet of your life. This is not to say that gaming is inherently nefarious. I quite love gaming myself, but it's rather to dissect the reasoning behind such discipline, especially when it's viewed as laziness. All in all, fantasies are not merely free roams. They are constructed efforts that tell us about what we value and what recourse we're seeking in our own solitude. But we mustn't stop there. This leads well into the next point of gaming as personality. Remember when I highlighted that Baudrillard spoke of our symbols becoming more real than their underlying realities? Think about when you're Booker DeWitt, jumping around the city of Columbia's skyline, protecting Elizabeth from Comstock. Well, actually, she's the one protecting you more, but you know what I mean. Sitting there for hours developing a stubble like a real-life detective. Not akin to Booker, you probably haven't had your child taken to the multiverse, or even looked after a woman for that matter, but nonetheless, you wear Booker's personality like you're trying on a new outfit for the day. It's not that you want to be Booker, or Tarnished, or Gustave, but instead that you're yearning to experience the trials and tribulations of meaning without the consequences of seeking such meaning in your life. You become Albert Camus' depiction of Sisyphus, imagining yourself happy when damned to eternal despair. This can be broken up into two ways. One, as the cry to overcome difficult things, and two, pursuing something futile in hopes to achieve happiness. In the former, your dissociation from the real world does not arise because you believe there is no meaning, but because you welcome it ferociously, simulating the call to meaning bit by bit. You know deep inside, as if it were programmed into you, that doing difficult things is the pathway to freedom and fulfillment. The poetic tension here is that you simultaneously encounter logistical struggles while playing the game, while also taking on the emotional burden of your character as well. And if you don't think so, I would ask why you cried when Sarah dies in The Last of Us. Yeah, I know you did. In the latter, there's that common theme where we attempt to hijack and bankroll our own happiness by doing things that don't actually bring us happiness. As the sadist and masochist of our own experience, we torture ourselves with the price of pleasure. Happiness lets us drink from its chalice, only to be met with poison. Why do we do and enjoy what's not good for us? Why do we continue to drink from the glass of red wine? The absurdity of this dynamic is reflected in our desire to merge the abstract with the concrete. We bottle this hope of despair so that it may turn into bundles of joy, so that we can redeem it with something like FIFA coins, let's say, and without any real cost at the end of the day. All to mention that we simulate experiences and therefore embody the properties of meaning while seeking to mitigate the risk of appealing to such meaning in our own lives. And this seeps its way into our personality, into the way that we view the world, and our tolerance of struggle in this desert of the real. To take on a purposeful meaning is to take on real risk as well, and we will know this when we are directed to purpose rather than pleasure. Thirdly, we have gaming as extending mortality. Gaming is abstract by nature. It stretches the fabric of our idea of traditional hedonism. It expands the range of what is stimulating because the act itself is quite mundane and relaxing. It is mentally stimulating, however, and more precisely, even more ironically, it shrinks time and space by exposing us to experiences that would take lifetimes to encounter. In doing so, we tend to a proclivity to extend life in the face of our own mortality. In The Denial of Death by Ernest Becker, we are told that we refuse our own mortality and therefore take on what Becker calls our heroism project, where we place an acute focus on our symbolic selves, designing culturally relevant meanings that carry the weight of our being beyond our physical selves. I will apply this here to gaming. There's an argument to be made where we form community through gaming as a way to crystallize this notion. However, I'm instead applying this to the varying types of games that stimulate anthropomorphic experiences and capture such attention. The ability to imagine an advanced civilization in space and play as a samurai during the Edo period of Japan is appealing because we embody such experiences throughout that gameplay. We extend our mortality and expose ourselves to these themes not because we want to live vicariously through these characters, but because we stimulate more possible human experiences in less time. I'd love to continue exploring these notions. Please let me know about some of your favorite gaming experiences. And to start, please subscribe and remember to be human. Thank you so much.